So you can add all kinds of interactivity into any kind of document or presentation inside of InDesign using buttons. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So let's look at the fundamentals of creating buttons in InDesign. I'm going to go ahead and create a new project here. And I'm going to use the web template here. Now that I have this open, in order to get this started, I need some objects here and possibly some images. So I'm going to import some images by hitting Control D to place some images. And I'm going to just choose some images here. And I can drag this out like that. Hit Control D and get some more images here. There we go. And maybe one more. There we go. So we have the go dot sign, an alien, and an HTML5 image. Now what I want to be able to do is create a button for each one of these. So they'll be invisible initially. And then when I click on the button, they'll show up. Now, in order to do this, what I want to be able to do first is convert these into objects. And I'm going to convert these to buttons. Actually, everything will be a button. So you got to think about buttons a little different in design, inside of InDesign. In InDesign, a button is a container, basically. So it holds things. So it can hold anything. I mean, pictures, text. Talking about text, let's actually go ahead and make our text for our button. So I'm going to go ahead and drag this text box out here. I'm going to say A. That's just going to be my button A. I'll just put the and I'm going to format this so that way it's all uppercase and the text is a lot bigger. Maybe not that big. There we go. And it's centered. And then I'm just going to change the background to this. So I'm going to select use my select tool. I'm going to select the text object, and then I'm going to change the background color. And then I can resize that. All right, so I have something that I can use for a button. Now what I want to be able to do is convert this into a button and convert these into a button. Now, you notice I have not made the other buttons. And the reason why I did that is because I like to create the button that's going to interact with the objects first, because then I can just duplicate it. So let's go ahead and do that. First, I'm going to shift select a few, go to interactive and convert to button. I can do the same thing here, shift and select, right click, shift, select, right click, interactive, convert to button. Now I have all of these buttons here. Each one of these are buttons. Okay. Now you notice when I select these over here on the left hand side inside of my buttons tab, and if you don't see your buttons tab, all you need to do is go to Windows, interactive, and buttons and forms, and that will open up this button tab here. Whenever you select a button, you'll see the parameters show up here, or the attributes. So each button should have a name. This is button A. I'm going to call this BTN for button HTML. So that way I know it's this button shows HTML. So I can say BTN show HTML. And it's very important that you give your buttons some descriptive names, because you'll see later that we'll have all these buttons aligned here, and you're going to need to know what button is which. So this one's show HTML. It's going to be on release. And then what I'm going to do down here is the action is going to be show and show/hide buttons and forms. Now, when I do this, look down here, you will see that the only button that's named is show HTML. All these other ones are button 2, button 3, button 4. None of these are descriptive. So this is the main reason why we want it to be descriptive. So when we create a button, we want to give it a better name. So I'm going to select on this button here, and I'm going to change the name from button 2 to HTML. And this one will be alien. and this one will be go dot. Okay, so now we have things that are more descriptive. So when I push on this button and I gave it an action of show slash buttons and forms, slow slash hide buttons and forms, now I can see down here what I want to show. And I'm going to want this button A, and maybe I should change this name from button A to inside the text. So I'm gonna hit the T and then button HTML, something like that. And then I can resize this to where I can see all of that. There we go. Now that makes more sense. Now I can say, okay, this will, I'm gonna go down here to the visibility, it will show the HTML. And it won't do anything to the other ones. Actually, no, we wanna hide the other one. So I'm going to select it, and I'm shift selecting that one, then I can hit this hide button here. And then I'm going to go here and hide this one. And you notice I only have one button right now, which is great because I don't have to sift through a bunch of buttons to be able to decide which one is doing what. And when I duplicate it, all of this stuff will be there. So right now I have this button here, and it's going to show the HTML. Now the problem is when I run this, HTML is currently visible. So what I have to do is go to the HTML button, and then I'm going to go down here to hidden until triggered. So I select that. And now when I do this test, so I'm going to run this. By the way, you should save your work. I'm going to run a preview of this by going to the buttons and forms tab, going to the bottom and clicking the preview. And now from the preview, you see there's no HTML there. Here's my button here, and I select that, but here's the issue. It hid everything except for the HTML. So let's go look at why that is happening. So I'm gonna select this button. If I look over here, it's hiding everything, including the BTN show HTML. So that shows us a button can even hide itself. So really what I intended to do was not let this be affected at all. So let's look at how this will look. So I'm gonna go down here and I'm gonna press the preview, and I'm going to show that. This is exactly what I want. I want when I show the BTN, when I click on the button H for HTML, only the HTML should show. Great. So now what I need to do is the same thing for these other buttons. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to select this button here. I'm going to hold down Control, and then I'm going to drag a copy out. And I'm going to do it one more time. So I have 3 copies. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit T and go in here and put this as alien. And then I'm going to put this as go dot. Now that I have all these buttons, all I have to do is go into each individual button, like this one here. Right here it says BTN not show HTML, and I just need to change that to show alien. And then I'm going to put show hide. And now with this one, I'm not going to mess with the buttons. This is how I know the buttons with the BT in there. I know those are buttons. And all I want to do here is show the alien. And then I want to hide the others. So I'm clicking on those twice. And I'll leave the buttons alone. Now I'm going to go here to my go dot. I'm going to change the name to this one. Show HTML to show go dot, or whatever your image is called. And then go down here to show and hide buttons and forms. And now I want to show the go dot, but I want to hide the alien, and I want to hide the HTML. Perfect. Now all I need to do is make sure that these are hidden when they first start. So I'm selecting these, and then I'm pushing on hidden until triggered. That way, as you can see, I did both of them at the same time. And so that's why they're both checked. So I shift selected both of them, and then I check the attribute that I wanted to use. So let's try this out. I'm going to go ahead and preview this. So nothing is visible. There's my HTML. There's my alien. There's my go dot. Perfect. Now, one thing I might want to do is align these up. So what I can do is I can take this and I'm going to go ahead and fill the frame to proportion. And then that way, when I go inside of here, I can drag this out and make that a little bit bigger. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down Shift after selecting this first one. I'm going to hold down Shift and I'm going to select all of these. And inside of my Aligns tab, what I want to do is select the first one that I want everything aligned to. And you'll see a thick border go around there. And then I'm going to align this to the top. And then I'm going to align it to the left. That way everything's aligned. Perfect. Now what I can do is run my preview. Now when I do it, everything is in the same spot. And the reason why the alien didn't show is because the alien is up there, but the box itself was not dragged up. So that was just my problem. That was something I did wrong. So now I'm going to run this preview. Perfect. So hopefully this was helpful to you. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. And make sure you subscribe and share the video. I'll talk to you guys next time.